If Threads takes off and you're a real estate agent, you should start consuming this content to see what can I do with this, right? Instead of being a curmudgeon like Shane who just said, screw this, it's not going to work.
Welcome back to the most underrated podcast on planet Earth, aka The Walkthrough, where we bring in top industry professionals each and every single week to educate you on this week's trending topics in real time in real estate, and also here to entertain. What's better than learning and laughing? I do not know.
Nothing.
My name is Dan Oneil, and speaking of entertaining, educating, and good looking, as always, I am joined by my co-host, the broke agent, aka Mr. Eric Simon. Eric, how are you, and how was your 4th of July?
It was fantastic. I went to the beach in Santa Monica. I tanned front and back, so I'm crispy on both sides for the first time in like 6 months. I shaved, so I'm feeling fresh. I'm feeling bronzed, and I'm ready for the second half of summer. We have a killer squad with us, Shane and Paige. Let's go.
Let's go. We need to talk about the back tanning maybe after this Zoom, because I feel like that's a little weird, but let's continue on with the show. Speaking of independence and the 4th of July, we have the Sauvignon Blanc drinking veteran who is absolutely in one. If you're not following him, you need to immediately, like literally stop this podcast and go follow him. We have from the Space Coast, Mr. Shane Burgman. Shane, I miss you, buddy. How was your 4th? And as always, thank you for your service.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for having me on. Eric, thanks for letting us all know that you shaved whatever portion of that body is you're talking about. But 4th of July is always a real special holiday for me. You know, obviously as a veteran, we celebrate it. And I think it was the first year where I was able to actually like truly enjoy the fireworks. I think previous years, it was always really just, it sucked because I had either dogs that had really bad separation anxiety or babies. And it makes that holiday just like really hard to celebrate. And this was the first year where like my kids were into it. I didn't have the dogs no longer in my life, and I can kind of get around and see the allure of launching off fireworks and literally blowing away your money.
Well, I'm happy you got to finally enjoy, my brother. And also today we have one of the top marketers in the country, and I don't throw that around loosely. Yep, I don't throw that around loosely. Joining us on today's show, constantly innovating, inspiring, and selling what appears to be every home in Utah. We have Miss Utah Paige Steckling. Paige, how are you, and how was your 4th of July?
It was good. I was telling you guys, and thank you, by the way. That's a lot to live up to on the marketing side there, but I appreciate it. My 4th of July was good. I feel like I kind of dropped the ball, like I was telling you guys, with my kids a little bit, because they're like old enough. They're like, where's our fireworks? Like all these other kids were like blowing off their own, and I'm like, we're just gonna sit in the car and watch them. So next year we're gonna step it up, but it was fun.
Awesome. All right. Well, listen, today we are talking Instagram's newest feature. I mean, aka the bane of my existence already, Threads. We have 12 newbie agent behaviors and how to finish out the year strong, marketing of the week, and much, much more. If you're watching this is about to be a 10 out of 10 episode, a 10 out of 10. Make sure you like and subscribe and buckle up. Okay. Topic number 1 from Tom Toole and the BAM staff. It is halfway through the year. Are you on track to meet your sales goals? The first half of the year is over, and while most are out vacationing and celebrating, I, aka Tom, looks at this time of year as something a little different, and I quote, "It's a time of year to evaluate how the last 6 months went. Typically, you'd like to see 60% of your business pending and sold by the time you hit June 30th every year. When you evaluate where you are mid-year, there are 3 possible outcomes for you for how you're tracking toward your goals. You are either ahead, behind, or on pace. Those are the 3 buckets, and us all are going to fall into one of them. There's really no in between. Sidebar, while this article has to do directly with sales and transactions, your goals don't necessarily have to be measured solely on that. This could be a content-related goal. This could be family, personal-related goal. This could even be organizational goals. Doesn't matter. But this article specifically is in regards to sales. So step away and evaluate yourself and your business and determine what you're tracking and how you're tracking. The biggest problem that Tom says is most agents don't even track and measure. So they have no idea what is going on in their business. So these 3 pillars. Number 1 is what to do if you're ahead of your goals. Tom said, if you're ahead, congratulations, way to execute on your plan. You might want to consider upping your goal a little bit. And he's not talking about just upping it for a few weeks, but increase a short-term goal. So this could be close 1 extra deal a month over the next 90 days, take 3 more listings, and keep the momentum going. The second bucket is what to do if you're on pace for your goals. And Tom says, if you're on pace, I have a few questions for you. Did you consider the seasonality of your market? Do you have to make adjustments to account for the seasonal flow of business? And how can you improve and make more appointments or set more belly-to-belly meetings? And the third one is one that there are a lot of people in this bucket if you're behind on your goals. So if you're behind, the good news is there's 180 plus days left in the year. So you do have time to catch up. What Tom hears a lot of people say is, well, I'm just trying to sell as many homes as I can. That's not a plan. As many as possible or as many as I can is not a plan. That's not specific. It's not measurable. It's not time-based. You want to have SMART goals. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based goals. Did Tom trademark that? Because if he didn't, I'm about to. So if you are pacing behind, determine your goals for the next 6 months. You need a plan, right? Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Tom Brady went out there with a game plan, right? He didn't just go out there and sling it, right? And win 4 championships. He had a plan. Shane, I will start with you. Which bucket do you fit into, and how do you track your numbers?
Well, it's the first year. So I've been doing real estate 8 years, and this is the first year that I'm actually behind. So I am not at my goal. This is going to sound like an excuse, and I'll do some cover up, and I will address your question. But for the first 7 years in my real estate, I set goals that were like in my mind. I was pretty confident I could get them, and each year I increased from a marginal amount. I never wanted to really like push it too far. This is the first year that I pushed my goal so far out. It was almost unreachable from like the beginning of the year. And right now I'll let you know I'm at 40% of my overall goal, which from a personal sales point is 50 million, just independent sales on that. So 40% of those sales, it's not a good position to be in, but it's one of those, like, I'm pretty consistent with my production. I don't have like the ebbs and flows that most real estate agents have. And maintain consistency pretty well. From a tracking standpoint, I meet with my team. We actually meet every 2 weeks and talk about production, where we're at, what we're doing. And then each quarter we go over a review. Our MLS has a really good saturation analysis too that will demonstrate all of our agents' production. So I can even look up other agents and kind of see where they're at. I can look up my own individual agents, my own production, and then track that. And then 2 other pieces I use too. So our CRM does a really good job at tracking the data and analytics. And then I also implement Google Forms for all of my buyer and seller leads. And I've talked about this with you guys before on my own channels. But what that does for me is that allows me to aggregate data from everything about the buyer, where they're coming from, the price point, when they're looking to purchase. So I can really kind of like anticipate what my sales would look like for the year. So it's a combination of those 3 things is how I track. But I'm behind.
Yeah. And I mean, Shane, there's nothing wrong with setting your goals high and then having to adjust, right? We all know that you're working. I'll come back to that. Paige, which bucket are you in right now?
Well, I will just start by saying I am Tom Toole's like nightmare of an agent. I would be kicked off of his team if I was on his team. I keep track of everything right here, but I should track my numbers better. Last year, I didn't even know what I did. My husband actually added up my numbers for me. He's like, you did 30 million last year. I'm like, that's sick. That's awesome. I'm like, I'm doing 50 this year. So I would guess I would probably I don't think I'm halfway, but
39% Paige.
For me, when I'm like specifically tracking my numbers, like, I get a little bit salesy. Like I get this like, oh my gosh, I have to sell more. Like, what am I doing? I try to shift my energy to like, hey, this is so cool that I get to like connect people with their dream homes or like get people the most money for their biggest financial asset. So when I'm in that energy, I enjoy this business so much more of just like being able to connect people with the right home. Like I wouldn't want to, sell somebody a home if it wasn't right for them. Like that's just not good karma. That's not what I want to be in this business to be doing. So I definitely think there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's not only one way that everything should look like, whether it's like a relationship or tracking your numbers or how you do this business. So I definitely naturally always have that energy of like, okay, what's next? Like we got to constantly be going. And before, when I was, before I got bigger in the industry in Utah, I had to make my calls, but I more still made it about just checking up on people and, hey, what can I help you with? So anyways, I am not a tracker. But if and when
Don't show this to Tom Toole, man. He will have a heart attack.
I know.
Just somebody
He'll block you on Instagram.
That guy.
Yeah. If and when I start building a bigger team, like obviously you have to start doing that kind of stuff. It's just me, a buyer's agent, and like an assistant right now. So in the future, we'll start going more that direction. But last thing I will say, my goal has been to do less and delegate more so that I can like give better service to my clients. And I've been good at doing that this year.
You should get your assistant to track that page. That's what I have my assistant do. She tracks all my sales and puts it on a spreadsheet. And it only started to make sure that I was paid for that shit.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I closed that. I was like, I never saw it in my bank. I don't know what's going on. So she started putting it on a spreadsheet, and that's why we start tracking it like that.
That's amazing. I love that. Maybe I should have her. Yeah. But then it stresses me out when I start thinking about the numbers. Like I almost don't want to know.
You don't look at it. Let her look at it and just remind you quarterly where you're at, if you're on pace or not.
If I'm not on pace, just like have her start like telling me to do, like start upping some of our marketing that she does or something.
Yeah. It'll light a little bit of a fire underneath you too. Like I was the same way. Like, I mean, I would even say for 3 years, I had absolutely no idea what was going on with the business, monetary. It was really bad. And it wasn't until I got into the ecosystem and met someone like Tom Toole where I finally started tracking. And like, there will be months or quarters where you're like, we got a problem here because we are way down, which means I now need to double down and work a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Or there's months where you're like, wow, I'm doing really well. Maybe I can go away for a couple of days. But if you don't know, you don't know. Yeah. And I feel that anxiety too, Paige, but you're going to get very big. You already are very big. You definitely need to start somehow implementing an SOP to track.
Yeah.
So
I love how he breaks it down of like how many in 6 months, how many per month, how many conversations, because just having conversations with people and like offering your help, you know, that doesn't feel like ick to me, like the boiler room sales call, you know, I hate that. But
even having an accountability partner too, like this is another piece of advice here, or suggestion. Like I have accountability partners. We do it for the team, but I also have it for myself.
Yeah.
And that's very KPI driven. So if you show up to that meeting and the 4 people that you're with did all of their, everything they were supposed to, and you show up with nothing, you're like, you know, you feel a certain way. So it kind of motivates you and just, it naturally keeps you accountable and it keeps you doing better.
Yeah.
Eric, obviously you're not in sales, but you're between BAM, your goals for the year, content related, podcast shows, you've gotten a lot done in a year. When you reflect mid-year, are you satisfied with where you are with BAM is? Like what is kind of the overall consensus right now?
Never satisfied in the content game. There could always be more. So we do something in L-Town meetings where we set quarterly rocks of goals we're supposed to achieve. And we have one for email subscribers. We have one for YouTube subscribers, BAMX, throwing events, digital and physical events, like how many blogs, how many views we're supposed to get on the website, that type of thing. And those are really frustrating goals because if your YouTube subscribers don't hit it, you have to make adjustments. Same with email subscriptions. Like those are our main goals right now. What we're doing right now, because July 2nd was the halfway through point through the year, is doing an entire content audit. So we're actually going through all of our shows and seeing, okay, does this one actually convert? Are people actually watching the show? Because we were so heavy on acquisition in the first half of July of let's get creators, let's start shows, let's be everywhere. Let's have this podcast. Let's have this podcast. Let's post these clips. Let's do blogs on Instagram and Facebook and sales and humor and TikTok trending sounds. Like we're everywhere right now. And it's time to take a step back and say, all right, let's stop doing the work for a second. Not stop doing the work, but let's stop just busy work and actually sit here and evaluate what are people actually reading and interested in. Like, you know, there's 1.5 million realtors. They're not going to be watching 8 different podcasts, right? So let's keep this one. Let's not keep this one. Let's focus more attention on this. Let's do less clips. Are the clips actually converting into BAMX subscribers or email subscribers? So we're doing just an entire content on it. And I think a lot of agents could do that in their business too, in terms of is what you're putting effort into actually resulting in something.
Yeah. And I mean, you like you said too, you're almost doing a deep dive into the business. You're not stepping away from it or not doing the work, but you're getting organized. And I mean, I think you have to 6 months into the year, especially with where you guys are at and how much you're doing. I mean, it's incredibly impressive. Really quick before we move on, one piece of advice or not one piece of advice, but one thing that you're going to be focusing on for the next 180 days. Paige, I'll start from you just because you're right next to me. One thing you're focusing on next 180 days.
I'm doing client events. I'm meeting with this actually event person tomorrow because I keep saying I'm going to do them and then I don't do like I want to do fun client events where like we post about it and everyone's like, oh my gosh, I want to be a part of that. That looks amazing. And like more people want to come, they want to use us, refer us, and that sounds fun to me. So we're meeting tomorrow to plan out what those are going to be.
Nice.
Next time you're on the show, we're going to ask you how that went. Shane, 180 days left. What's one thing that you are going to be focusing on?
YouTube.
I like it. I like it a whole lot. Me likey. Eric,
Did you
one
want to
thing.
elaborate?
That's so
180 days.
maliciously scary. Yeah, YouTube.
YouTube.
Have you started? Well, good thing, because we actually have a YouTube strategy session coming up with Tom Story. We're doing a free webinar with him July 19th. He's the master of YouTube. One of our goals on top of the email subscribers and YouTube subscribers is BAMX subscribers. Of course, we want to get more people onto our platform and community. So if you're watching this, use codes WALKTHROUGH for 10% off BAMX, best courses, live streams, and community in the game. We got YouTube courses, Instagram. There'll probably be one on Threads at some point, which we'll cover here pretty soon.
Please,
Unless Shane has something to say about it. But you got to get in there right now. It's the best bang for your buck. It's literally $10 a month if you sign up for the annual, or even less if you use code WALKTHROUGH. So see you there in BAMX.
Let's go. All right. Use code WALKTHROUGH. Let us know which bucket you fall into here in the comments, what you're committing to. Let us know if you're ahead of your goals, behind, if you're on pace. Let us know if we can hold you accountable to something. I love when people comment and they say that they're going to do something, and then we kind of call them out, or we'll send them a DM like, we're the accountability people over here. Who would have ever thought we'd be on the walkthrough holding people accountable? I wouldn't. Moving on. Topic number 2, top 12 newbie agent behaviors that frustrate listing agents. So they have 12 here. I'm going to read off 8 from the article, and then I have 2 of my own, because I can do that because I am the moderator. And 4 of them are kind of silly and very repetitive. But 8 that they had mentioned were that these agents do not read, right? So these are newbie buyer agents, and this is frustrating as a listing agent. They don't know the contract. They don't know or understand the rules. They don't understand fiduciary duty. Eric, do you know what fiduciary duty means?
Yeah, of course. That's the only thing I learned in real estate school is fiduciary duty. It's the only word I know.
That riptarian rights. They don't communicate. They don't have adequate training. They don't vet their clients. They don't understand inspectors or inspection reports. And then the 2 that I added in here are that they don't follow up and that they are not organized. And there are also unwritten rules. I live in a market where I have New York City, which is very close to me, but their rules are just, it's its own world. They don't even write deal sheets. And then I also have the Hamptons, where it's like, they won't even do a deal with you out there, right? It's like its own separate beast, just 45 minutes left and right of me, or east and west of me. So there are a lot of unwritten rules. And unfortunately, it's not baseball where you can throw a 98-mile-an-hour fastball in someone's rib cage for not following along, and we just have to deal with it. But Paige, what are some newbie mistakes that frustrate you when you are on the listing side? Because it looks like you are listing every home in Utah.
Thanks. The not reading thing, I get kind of annoyed at. Like, every time I get a call, I'm like, do I answer it? But there's been so many times where I answer and it's actually a deal. So I do try to answer it. But then if it's like an agent asking me a stupid question, like, hey, can you send me this? I'm like, it's on the MLS. Like, it's on there. And then they're like trying to chit chat. I'm like, just trying to get off the phone immediately. But I'm also guilty of that, honestly. So I can't get too angry. Like, I'll have my clients be like, hey, can you call and find out this about this house? And it's like a big house, and I'm driving and I'm like just calling them really fast, asking questions, and they're like, bitch, it's on the MLS, like, just read it. I'm like, sorry. But
it's a good shirt idea, actually.
Yeah. So
actually it's
it's on the MLS.
It's a good merch idea.
But anyways, I think that is annoying when I get calls, but I'm also guilty of it, so I can't get too angry. Honestly, sometimes though, the new agents, I love it. Like, if I'm on the other side with them, because I feel like I can kind of take advantage a little bit. Like, I had one recently where I was representing a buyer, and they were obviously a new agent, and I'm like, we need all these repairs done in order to close. And then like the appraisal repairs came in. I'm like, I mean, I don't know if you know, but like, you can't sell the house unless they make these repairs. Like, they didn't even know that you can like negotiate. So sometimes it kind of makes it easier on you if they're on the other side, but obviously sometimes there's things that are annoying, like if they miss an initial or don't check it right or don't do the addendums right, and then you have to go back and fix it. But anyways, I feel like there's pros and cons.
Very good. I mean, I have some, I'll save mine for the end because I am salivating for this. Shane, what are some things that frustrate you?
You're always salivating.
I am. I have a drool problem.
You need to drink some water, man.
Such a
just my glands,
image to think of, that you're sitting there drooling about the 12 newbie mistakes that agents make. Shane, are you salivating over this? Didn't you just do a green screen on this?
I did, man.
You sent
and I
me this
found
article yesterday, so you're salivating. You're jumping at the bits here, chomping at the bits.
I'm chomping at the bit. And for context, this article was written about 2 years ago, right? And I think for context, it matters because it was during the height of COVID. No, it's important because it's still relevant, if not more, to today, right? So back in COVID, when they wrote it because agents weren't securing deals, and basically that article was written as kind of like a way to educate agents on how to properly present an offer and how to properly do your job. So when I read it, I was like, man, these 12 things are even more relevant now because we saw the influx of new agents enter the market. Most of them don't know their heads from their assholes. So it's like, there has to be something out there to sort of like educate them. And so that's how I use that piece of content. Like, hey, there's 12 things on here, but the things that I think you can easily do to enhance your game. So I'm going to go right there with Paige as far as reading, man. So I couldn't tell you how many times, first 6 years in real estate, my phone would blow up and it was agents asking me where the disclosures were. Can we show the property? Every stupid question you get, and it's literally on the MLS. So I took my cell phone number off of the MLS and I put in now we use Grasshopper as a business line. So any agent that calls or wants to get a hold of that, they literally have to call my business line and press 1 to talk to a human. And I have this like long voicemail on it. I get a lot of shit from local agents because they're like, we can't text you, call you for information. It's because 90% of the shit you guys want, like if you just opened up your damn eyes, it's there. Like just look for it, like do your own job. So it really frustrated me. And I've pulled my number out of the MLS and it goes directly to my assistant. So if Paige, if that's something that's like a pain point for you now, that was a good move I did. It saves me so much time because my assistant is the one going through those.
You would be calls. Such a mean listing agent to call. I was always, anytime I left voicemails or called listing agents, I was always just nervous and rattled anyway. Like the voicemails I left were just always mumbling and bumbling all over the place. But I always got mad. Like Paige said, what if a client says, I want to hear about this property, and you're driving around or you're showing other stuff, and then you call the listing agent and you got some questions. You're just like, when was it built? What's the square foot? I don't know. Just those simple questions. Like, shouldn't the listing agent just be a little nice sometimes and be like, hey, maybe this person's been on the road. I'm going to answer these questions and possibly facilitate a deal with you instead of being a Shane Bergman and being like, oh, it's on the MLS. You can't even reach me. Check my Grasshopper or whatever. Like that's
here's the deal on that.
I'm all in on.
Well, because you're not listing property, Eric, and you probably never did. But the thing is, when you actually list like a listing properly. We have on our listing, right?
Ricochet shot.
Yeah. A document tab that has not only disclosures
for Einstein, and I answered every single phone call with politeness and was like, oh, thank you so much for calling. Here's the information you want. It's also in the MLS instead of taking your approach. Go ahead.
No.
Well, I never once said that I was not polite. I just said I make it a little bit more challenging for a buyer's agent to get a hold of me. So I'm actually influencing and encouraging them to do their job. If someone does call me, it's always fun. It's if they get my cell phone, it's like they've created this barrier into like this conversation. And I'm not saying it's like from like this high level of esteem. It's like if they really want to find the information, I just challenge them to do it themselves because when we list property, it's like disclosures are on there. We have an FAQ form with every question you can imagine. It's on that form. We have a property inventory, everything that's conveying. And then the MLS is like fully written. So if there's any questions, 99% of them are there. It's the one-offs where it's like the people might not know, like, I can't even give you an example because it's such a robust amount of information.
I can give you a million examples, and that's why I've been salivating. Yeah. And Eric, like, I don't care if you're on the road. I don't care if you're on a fucking spaceship or you're traveling to Mars.
Damn
Open
submarine.
up the MLS, right? I'm not showing time. All you have to do is read. Built in 1942, 2,000 square feet. It's all there. The survey's there. Everything that you could possibly need to know about this home, other than the seller's birthday, is on MLS, and I make sure of it. So what I've done now to be polite is I have shortcuts on my phone because I have fat little thumbs, right? So if I type in DJ, it fills in my email. If I type in we have H or something or W, it says we have offers above asking, please submit to my whatever. So it's the people that they just don't even spend the time. Like they're not in the car. They're just lazy, or they don't even know how to read the MLS, and they just want to hand it to them. And you got to figure with how crazy this market is and the low inventory, imagine getting that call times 50. Hey, how old is the roof? Hey, do you have the survey? Hey, did you open up MLS? Did you type it in? Did you look up the listing? Hey, is this property available? Actually, no, it's been under contract for 6 weeks. Why are you calling me to show it? Did you even Google it? That's what gets frustrating. And that's as a listing agent, like these newbie agents, somebody calls me and says, hey, Dan, love the content, whatever. I'm a new agent. I have a couple questions. Sure, my friend. How may I help you? But if you call me, hey, Dan, this is I've been in the business for 40 years. Yep. You didn't put in how old the roof is on the listing. Yes, I did. Scroll down. It's right there for you. That's what frustrates me.
And there's definitely a balance. to do that, I mean, and trust me, it's not for everyone, but to scale a real estate business, especially if you're very listing heavy, it's just, it would be a full-time job to vet all of those calls and address all of that information. So like by implementing the correct systems, and for me, that's a business line that's, creating a very robust listing to where most of the questions are on there. And then also being smart about what we put in the agent remarks. We put all the documents to a Dropbox link, all the HOA docs, if there's HOA, and any like vital information that needs to be said in there. Like maybe if it's a trust and like what happened, if the house, if there's like specific nuances to it, the agent remarks section is good for that. But that's where it's like the agent actually, if they're looking at the property, they should go through the MLS first, read the agent remarks, and then look at the documents. And then if there's anything not addressed at that point, reach out.
Yeah, I mean, and I get so many calls. Like right now, I have probably got 5 of people that don't even send me their card. Like I don't even know where they are. They just go, "Hey Dan, can you call me in regards to 21 Main Street? Who are you? Are you an agent? Are you a buyer? Are you the police? Who are you?"
Yeah.
So that is incredibly infuriating. And then they'll go insofar as to call my office. So then I have my manager, I have my assistants, right? Everyone's texting me and calling me. Meanwhile, I spoke to the person 10 times. And the other thing that really frustrates me is every open house that I do, and you got to think we're putting out probably 10 listings a week. Every open house that I do, 99.9% of the buyers, they go in there and their agent never called, never texted, never said that they were sending them. They just, "Oh yeah, I'm working with Susie Joe over at whatever." Well, why didn't that agent call me or text me to give me the heads up? I just gave you a 45-minute tour as if you were my mother and my father. It would be nice to call me then, and not to call me if the oil tank is underneath the ground or if it's above the ground when it's on MLS. So there are many, many things. And I think it goes back to training and just, kind of knowing what you're doing, or even writing up an offer. The amount of time, Shane and Paige, I'm sure you've seen this, right? Where an agent will send you an offer. There's no pre-approval. There's no proof of funds. There's nothing except, it looks like they wrote it with their foot. 800. What does that mean?
I think for the record, can we put this out there? Like if you're sending an email, like I think that was one of the things in there about communication. And if you're sending an offer and you send me a fucking link and I have to click that to go to the offer, bro.
That's a good post idea right there, and a good shirt idea too,
dude. No, fucking send a PDF, like please, like, PDF. And then also, oh man, it's like a big pain point. If I get like a DocuSign link, like, dude, seriously,
I hate that.
It's just like a forward email from DocuSign or app files, and I'm like, that's like the real estate, like, fuck you.
One thing I was complimented on as a buyer's agent actually was the offer packages that I would send would always be extremely clean. The mentor that I was working with was all about just saying exactly what's in the offer, having a cover page, having the letter right there, the pre-approval just completely organized. And just that presentation just made it so much easier for the listing agent. So you need a mentor to tell you stuff.
We created a template for our team, and it's like the same thing every time. The subject line is, it says offer and then the address. So many agents forget to incorporate even the address. And then in the body of the email, it's a little bit of context about the client. And then it's 6 bullet points with the salient points we've pulled directly from the contract. And then the contract is a PDF. And then the pre-approval is a PDF. And that's it. That's what my team does. It's our standard operating procedure for every single offer we present. And same thing with like that you just said, Eric. So many, if I'm on the buying side, so many listing agents are like, it was easy to read. It was clean. The presentation was on point, and like, it's just professional.
It just prepares you for the communication with that agent too. It gets you excited to open escrow and do a transaction with an agent that's competent and organized, because then you're like, all right, this person's going to be on the ball when it comes to disclosures and contingencies and everything like that. So look at that. I know a little bit of real estate stuff right here. I do have a little bit of experience.
It's impressive, man.
Having that nice little button-up offer presentation goes such a long way, as opposed to me having to sit here and download a zip file that I don't know how many viruses I'm getting, right, from Instinet or from MLS. Like, that offer presentation is huge. So not to go off on a tangent, but if you are listening to this, get your offers organized, right? These are little things that will increase the probability of you getting a deal accepted, an offer accepted, your buyers liking you even more, so on and so forth. Any final thoughts here before we move on to the bane of my existence?
Well, I would say, I mean, I like talking to the agent before they send the offer, like talking through it about what's going to be, what's going to work and what's not. And then I know what to expect. And yeah, I want it in like a PDF. So if it's like they send me some link and I haven't even talked to them, it's like, what is this? I hate it. So I would kind of rather talk to the agent ahead of time and have them call me if they're sending an offer to go over things. But you guys are like probably running, when you're running huge teams, then it's a little bit different. I kind of like the personal aspect of it right now, but if I grow and get a big team, I probably would feel differently. So
Well,
No, I
so
think-
basically
yeah.
what I would do is I would first, the only time I'd pick up the phone really, unless I had questions, I would call, hey, Shane, this is Dan Oneil with Signature Premier Properties. I'm just letting you know that I'm going to be sending over an offer package and an email in the next about 5 minutes. I just wanted to give you a heads up. My buyer is XYZ, 20% down with my go-to lender, my go-to attorney. They're waiving inspection, waiving appraisal. Everything will be in there. The pre-approval. We can close in 45 days or we can close in 90. Depends on whatever your seller would like. But all of that will be in the email. And if you have any questions, you let me know. And then bam, email comes through, communication, and that offer is getting accepted 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, you do that. You know, kind of warm it up. But I'll text the agent. I'm going to shoot him a text, be like, hey, great showing. We're bringing an offer. That's it. Like, I don't feel like I need to pick up a call and establish a rapport with the agent and kind of like float my offer by them. I've gotten out of that. I've had agents do that to me, and I'm like, you know, because it's one thing if I'm on the listing side and I have a buyer's agent do that and they float this offer by me, and I'm like, sure, go ahead, bring it. And then, you know, most agents would go ahead and tell their client like, hey, we might be getting an offer, and then you don't get that shit. And then it's just like, who looks like the jerk off there?
We're getting an offer until it's in my inbox.
In writing. Yeah, that's a good practice to have. But the whole little pre-offer foreplay, I'm just not into that. I'll shoot them a text and then I'll drop the hammer. Oh, that was disgusting. I'm sorry.
Pre-offer foreplay and then drop the hammer. My God, Shane.
I didn't mean any of the sexual innuendos in that. It like literally, I'm sorry.
It happened.
I had a buyer in 2018 who lost out on about like 14 properties over a 6-month period. And they were so desperate. They wrote a non-contingent offer in a house in East Los Angeles. And I drove the offer to the listing agent and stayed, you know, met them like at the open house, stayed for like the last 20 minutes, walked around, and then handed them the offer package. And I was like, this is how important it is to my clients. This is a non-contingent offer at this price. They ended up getting the property, no contingency. So they still did an inspection, but the inspection discovered creosote. Have you guys heard of creosote?
What the hell is that?
Creosote exactly. No one has. Yeah, it's a cream I put on my face. No, that's CeraVe.
Cream you put on your back.
Creosote is something that they used to put on railroads to like deter termites and bugs. So we go to the inspection. It's hotter that day than the open house. And apparently the hotness, the heat, makes the creosote smell seep through the wood floors, and it smelled like tar throughout the entire house. And then it was this entire back and forth turned into a lawsuit. But anyway, drive the listing package to the agent.
Eric, I have to say, the more that we do these podcasts and the more that, I mean, you're really interviewing like the top of the industry professionals. I really actually do think you'd be a pretty good agent if you so chose. You know, back in the day, I thought you knew nothing, but now,
look, I don't know much. I'll tell you that. I know way more about content, but enough to let me scrape by and, you know, make jokes about it for the last 8 years.
Well, speaking of knowing, on to topic number 3 in the bane of my existence. We'll look at this layup here. Meta, finally. I mean, we've been talking about this for quite some time. That's a 3 for 3. Meta, we've been talking about this for quite some time. Twitter rival Threads, what a diabolical name, has launched. Here's what you need to know. After months of teasing it, it's finally here. Instagram's version of Twitter. I'm going to let Eric explain this because I was on the phone with him last night. I downloaded it. I downloaded the wrong app to begin with. Then I swear to God, you could ask Eric. I went on it for 2 seconds. I saw basically the only 12 people that I would not want to see ever on my timeline. The 12 people, right? 12 for 12. It made me want to delete all of my social media. I'm infuriated. I do love Twitter simply because it's where I find my sports and my news and all of the above. And it's just like, you know, hey, I sent out a tweet. What did you send out a thread? What? It's just so silly. So, Eric, I will let you articulate what this is from Meta. They're constantly evolving here, constantly putting out new stuff, and I just want to delete all social media. So, Eric, would you take the floor, my friend?
Yes. Threads. One of my first threads, aka tweets on the new Instagram platform, I said that Instagram/Meta is infinity stoning the entire social media space. Does anyone here know what the infinity stones are from Marvel? No one knows who Thanos is? Shane, you have kids, right? Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Thanos, he collects all the infinity stones. He could travel in time. Anyway, Instagram is basically taking the best of every single app, right? They took stories from Snapchat. They took TikTok onto Reels. They took the messaging feature from Snapchat. They're basically the amalgamation of everything, every single social platform. And now they have their own app, Threads. So Threads is not on the Instagram app, but you could connect your Instagram and following and everything to it. So the second you get there, some of your following will import the amount of people that were actually on Threads. So what's awesome about it is you already have a built-in following, right? So the second you sign up, you're going to start getting followers immediately from all of your other followers from Instagram to Threads. So unlike TikTok or Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, you're not starting from scratch. So you get an immediate dopamine rush from all the followers you already have. The engagement on Threads so far is incredible. I have 60,000 plus on Twitter right now. I get 10 likes basically, or if I post something good, maybe 30 likes. On Threads, I'm already getting 200 likes with only like 6,000 or 7,000 followers. So you get that immediate early adopter feel and excitement. And just as a content creator, I feel like I could be more free with the stuff I say on Threads. Like on Instagram, I'm so pigeonholed to the real estate algorithm, where everything I have to do is about a real estate joke. Everything I post to my story has to be about social media or real estate. And I feel like I have way more to offer in terms of sports, politics, humor, marketing. And now I could just like voice it on this new app without having to do it to an audience that only wants to see real estate stuff. So that's what I'm excited about. I have way more stuff on here too, but I just want to kick it to Shane, because I know you're like hyper against this for some reason. You downloaded Threads and then smashed your phone to pieces and yelled at a buyer's agent. So I don't know, like, what's your problem? Like, why are you so mad, man?
So here's the thing. Threads to me feels like Twitter laced with FOMO. And I think currently right now it's in a stage where it's buzzy, it's trendy. They've hit, I can't even tell you how many millions. Are you okay again, man? In the first couple of days.
I'm not laughing. I'm coughing. I've had like a cold for 2 weeks. Go ahead, Shane.
But anyway, so like with the influx of users so quickly, I feel like it's inevitable that drop off is going to be severe. I think people are going on there because it's new. They're trying to explore the space. I feel like a lot of those users are going to die off, and people are going to figure out or try to understand how to use Threads. I think the problem comes from a real estate context. Like, how do we actually use it and provide information on a solely text or meme based platform that's like valuable to the consumer? And it's very challenging. And it's stuff that they can also find on any of the other platforms. So I think there's like going to be this margin for creativity, how agents can get on there and utilize it. I like how you said that there's like the freedom to kind of like voice some of your other things that you're interested in, but then that takes away such a different turn from your brand that you're creating. So it's confusing.
Yes.
In my mind, like Twitter, and my wife uses it a ton with her business, because it's like Twitter is a very quick way to report news. If there's closures, if things are happening, like that's like sports scores, right? Things that are happening in real time. I just don't see that occurring within the real estate space. And I think that's where the problem is going to be, specifically for real estate agents, is where my position is coming from.
Yes. And I agree too. And Eric, to your point, you said that you could be kind of a little more free and let it fly, but aren't the people that are following you, they're following you from the broke agent account. So if you started talking about sports or politics, whatever it might be, like those are the same people. So now it's kind of like, right, they're following you from a real estate like comedy perspective, and now you're going to be hitting them over the head with the Dodgers game.
I think people might like it,
who
though.
I think should be Secretary of State. Yeah, I think people will like it. I think that Twitter is way more community based, and Instagram's trying to figure out community with broadcast channels, and now Threads. And Threads, the way I use Twitter is I respond to people. I have different sort of like friends and accounts on Twitter. And I use Twitter as a dumping ground for ideas before I post them to Instagram, because you're not as concerned about the algorithm on Twitter or concerned about engagement. At least I'm not. Like Threads right now, I don't care if my thread gets 5 likes or 20 likes. On Instagram, I'm so used to the amount of like engagement that I get that I feel like I'm trapped by this similar posting style. So why not try out new different ideas on Threads and have the freedom to post without worrying about what your community would say? Paige, what were you going to say on Threads?
Does it do like when you respond to somebody, it's like a retweet, like it shows up on your page if you comment on somebody else's like thread that they post, right?
It'll show up in your replies, and then other people could see that you've responded to that person. So it works just like Twitter. Like you could rethread people, you could reply to people, you could quote thread them.
Gotcha.
What's the terminology? Like I just threaded.
I don't know.
Like I just tweeted, I threaded. Like what and then the other thing too, Eric, because you're so well versed on this, you just started a broadcast channel that you were talking about last week. Isn't that a direct, like, doesn't that impede on the broadcast channel?
People can't
like
respond on the broadcast channel, right?
Yeah, great point. Yes, the broadcast channel is, I'm just going to be providing value and marketing tips in that. But that is what I said. One of my first threads was like, now what do I do in a broadcast channel? Now you have the notes section, you have stories, you have your feed, you have threads. It's extremely overwhelming. And as a content, look at all these apps on the phone. It's ridiculous. As a content
time out.
creator,
It's crazy, man.
Look in the bottom right. I did download the wrong app. I'm not.
Only 101 unread text messages, man. That's good. You're up. You're actually ahead of your goal for the day.
Yeah.
Don't let Tom Toole see that.
Gosh,
But
he'll fire you.
What was I saying until you stuck that phone in my face? I was making a great
You're
point.
talking about broadcast
You
channels.
went back to downloading an app that didn't happen.
Broadcast channels. And
Broadcast
now they're
channels.
different.
Yeah,
They
yes.
respond. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, it's extremely overwhelming as a content creator to be in all these places, as a brand, as a media company. Like, what are we going to do with the BAM account? Are we going to be tweeting out real estate news? Probably. Like, we're not going to just be doing links to all of our blogs. Like, we have to figure out a different way. But it is that early startup adoption, which is exciting. And it's good to learn, because if Threads takes off and you're a real estate agent, you should start consuming this content to see, what can I do with this, right? Instead of being a curmudgeon like Shane, who just says, screw this, it's not going to work. It's like Clubhouse. I'm not getting on another
I'm
app.
in the same boat as Shane. So
I get it. But
I mean,
also,
you could be
think
all
about all the
about
people
something
who,
like a. Go for it.
think about all the people that are on Twitter, or that never started at Twitter. Like, Paige, you said that you haven't been on Twitter, right?
I'm on it, but I'm not really. Yeah, I have an account, but I'm not on it much.
A lot of people aren't. Like, my wife never goes on Twitter. She's going to be able to access Threads. This is going to bring in an entire new demographic of people that are seeing what text-based communication is like. And it's also going to bring a lot of creativity out. Like, I could be funny with just text. I'm excited for, exploring what I could do to get engagement on this app, and how I could possibly utilize it to get more followers on my Instagram, because you could directly follow people on Threads to Instagram. So if you become really good at engagement farming on Threads, where you're replying to people or retweeting people, your Instagram following could go up. So I would use it as an agent now, explore it, see what you could learn from the app, see how you could utilize it, and then see how you could get followers on Instagram.
Eric, I have one more question for you. But what I'm going to say too is, like, for my Twitter, I'm big into UFOs. I'm a big UAP guy, right? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but aliens are aliens, right? So if you go on my Twitter, that's
aliens
like a large.
Aliens.
Aliens are aliens. We don't have to call them UAPs. Like, I can go on a rabbit hole. We don't need to. But I'm just saying, that's the majority of my Twitter. I don't think that I can go and find that on Threads. So that's why I enjoy Twitter. And again, I get my news, and that's how I consume things. But I guess the whole free speech thing, right? Is that going to translate now over to Instagram as well? Like, that's not to get political, but like, that's kind of a concern that I was reading in some of the articles. And then the other one is, like, I don't think my clients are going to be on Threads. I think my clients are on Facebook, on LinkedIn, right? Like, I think that's more of an agent to agent basis. So
which is
how
awesome,
can
because,
we?
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask you, like, what would be your biggest piece of advice? Is it to just consume some of the content that is on Threads? Is it to try to build your following? How can we as agents utilize yet another new app? Like, you had that picture app a couple months ago that you were doing, right? Every 10 seconds you open it up and you take a picture. Where's that app?
Every 10 seconds you have to take a picture. That'd be insane. It was called Be Real, and I was completely wrong about that.
Be Real.
And nobody uses that anymore, and it's dead, and everybody who used it is also dead. So I don't know. What I would do is I would consume on Threads. Like, your initial thing, like any app. Like, when you go on TikTok, the first thing you should do is consume a bunch of content, see what's working, what's not. So that'll at least give you a feel for the platform. Then post something out, retweet something, see what the engagement's like. But I think from an agent to agent perspective, this is going to be great for community building. So maybe your client's not on Threads yet, but you're going to have a network of agents listening to you. And you could respond to other agents. You could respond to the broke agent account and meet other agents. And those are agent to agent referrals, just like any other social network. And then also, I would share your threads to your Instagram stories or to your actual feed, so you can start developing a following on Threads. Just like right now, it feels exciting. When you go on the app, it feels like an untapped kind of, I hate to use the word safe space, but like, Twitter is all about political dunking and fighting and news and
UFOs.
Reply guys and UFOs, and just like, it's warfare, right? It's really fun. I love Twitter. I'm obsessed with Twitter. But Threads and your Instagram community is so different. Like we've said before with Paige, like on TikTok, you could get hate because people don't follow you necessarily. It's an algorithm that pushes your stuff. Like, Instagram just has a better community base where it does feel like this might be a little cleaner, safer, less battle royale feeling type of place.
Agreed. And listen, anytime that when you have Gary V hopping out of his caves and, doing his whole thing, spiel on it, that means there's something to it. But, who knows? He also is big into NFTs and he's been wrong before, but no big deal. Point being is, if you're not on Threads, get on it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure you download the right app. I don't know what I downloaded. I probably have 130 viruses on my phone right now.
Yeah, it's not hard. Eric, it's not hard. Just go to the App Store and download Threads. It's the first one.
Well, I mean, it is because there's two different, right? Like the one is purple with it looks like a tic-tac-toe thing, as you saw, and then the other one is Instagram. So make sure you download the right one. Let us know if you're using it and how you think we can benefit from it. You won't see me on there. I can tell you that much. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I am wrong.
It also assigns a crazy dystopian number to you. So this is like your
number that you are.
Be able to see
You've downloaded it. The downloaded number you are. So you're like 1,000,010.
Exactly. So it actually shows up in your Instagram profile to let everybody know that you're on Threads, which is genius. So that way people could just head to my profile, click it, and follow me straight from there. But I don't really like the look of the number. You can hide that, but temporarily I want to keep that on just because I want people to know I'm on it. So I'm sure we'll have some more information on Threads and best practices as this hell continues.
Yes. Hey, listen, this is, you know what? We're here to give everybody the up-to-date and news and information. And this happened really yesterday. So within 24 hours, we are giving you guys what you need to do, where you need to be.
That's right.
Speaking of what you need to do and where you need to be, it is that time of the week, Eric, where we will share the marketing of the week. Yes. And we have a video teed up here. I love the live reactions. Eric sent me the video. I told him I didn't want to watch it. I don't like watching it until we are here live in front of all of y'all. So Eric, maybe let's tee up this the old reaction video here.
Yeah, Haley, you could throw this up there. This is a realtor named
Shane's probably gonna hate it.
Yeah, of course.
If it's on Threads, I'll fucking loathe it.
This is from Patrina Owen, and I have been sent this video probably 100 times in DMs, and it's about, do all realtors work the same? This is a viral video. Let's watch it and react.
Did you know that not all realtors work the same? Like, does your realtor know how to do chaîné turns and high heels?
Wow.
Or do yoga with her dogs? Or even a one-arm push-up? Just kidding. When you interview me, I provide you with a list of questions that you can ask other realtors that you might be interviewing so that you can clearly see the value, because we definitely do not all work the same.
Okay.
All right.
That music slaps, though.
I got to be honest, I wasn't expecting a one-arm push-up there. That was awesome. That was really impressive. And the dogs right from the beginning captures my attention. That's a really good video.
I was watching her feet the whole time to see if she's gonna cram one of those stilettos into one of the little sidewalk gaps. I mean, that I was most impressed with her ability to walk dogs, walk in those shoes, and talk. I mean, that's like dynamite material.
I thought
she
was so cute. I was like, yes, go girl. She's like obviously not super professional, but it's very unique. But there's going to be people that resonate with what she's doing, like fitness people or like people that love their dogs. Yeah. And so I feel like she's going to find some people that resonate with her. But yeah, it's not like one of those reels where she's like all buttoned up. It's not for everybody. There's going to be people that think she's like a little, not professional enough maybe, but I thought she was cute. I love that she showed some of her personality.
People love this video. Too. This has over 500,000 views on Instagram. I don't know how many on TikTok or if it's uploaded to TikTok, but it just shows you that a video of just, completely authentic, completely random, someone doing one-arm push-ups, walking their dogs, the pink aesthetic, performed really well for her. And she just, she only has 1,700 followers. Hopefully after this, she gets a few more, but I bet something like this has garnered a few, potential referrals, or at least now people are aware that she exists. So I think that the ability to go viral on Instagram right now has really picked up. And accounts with less followers are getting way more views than accounts with a lot of followers. So Instagram's definitely pushing organic reach.
Also,
Yeah, and let's just hope that she doesn't start making rap videos, right? Like let's get away from the rap videos in real estate for the love of God. If I see one more, I'm telling you, I'm deleting my Instagram page. That's a promise. I'm telling you. I love that she was unique. I love that was different. I've never seen anything like that. She showed her value props while she was maybe joking around. I'm sure that she does absolutely crush it in her business. And like you said, it's eyeballs. Paige, I'm sorry. What were you
I was just going to say, I think people want to work with people that they like and they relate to. Like people, they get an idea for who she is and they want to go out and look at houses or have somebody sell their house that they relate to instead of like having some random guy show up that like either is like super buttoned up and boring or like is super casual and smells like Cheetos. Like, I don't know.
Like Shane.
I felt like she was super cute. There's going to be people that relate to her and are like, oh, I want to work with her. She seems fun. And, you know, that's who I want to spend my couple months with while going through this process, you know?
Yeah. Agreed. And by the way, I mean this in a sincere compliment. Who's the actress? And she plays this is a compliment again. She plays Stifler's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
She's very attractive for her age.
That's what I'm trying to.
I didn't mean like
Jennifer
like
Coolidge.
She's awesome. I think she was the host. She was the host of the.
I see what you're saying.
Yes, and she was on the show with the house, right? The people are watching the house.
She's hilarious.
Yeah, she was also on White Lotus.
Yeah,
Jennifer Coolidge is like one of the hottest actresses in the game right now.
Is that her? Is that her name?
Jennifer Coolidge, yeah.
The one that it's the Botox lady.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah,
she's awesome.
Well, you don't
okay, so so you got that was a compliment. That actually kind of reminded me of that, and it gave me a little nostalgic, right, of like being a kid and like Stifler's mom. So that was a compliment. Shout out to her. Go follow her. Hopefully she gets 20...
about Stifler's mom.
Yeah, of course. What do you mean? That's like Topanga, right? Like
yeah,
Topanga. You don't Topanga, right?
Of course. By the way, I saw Topanga on the beach in Maui when I was like 10 years old, which is like a boy's dream. And she was what's her name, like Danielle something, but I was
Topanga.
Infatuated with Topanga.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. That was a compliment. All right. Well, speaking of infatuations and compliments and Topanga, and what an episode! Let's button this up here. Make sure you get your BAMX subscription. Make sure you like and subscribe here. We promo code walkthrough here. Eric, is that correct?
Walkthrough. Getting BAMX right now. Best community in the game. We already have 400 members in there, and we've been live for like 2 months. We're doing multiple live streams a month. Best courses in the game, and you'll get tickets, exclusive tickets, and offers to our events, which we do have one coming up in September. But also, if you're listening to this right now, August 22nd, Tom Ferry BAM Bash. It is officially happening. So we will have links for that on the next walkthrough episode. So make sure you stick around for that. Everybody follow Shane Burgman, follow Utah Real Estate Page. They are the best content creators in the game. We probably cover a video of theirs like every episode, Dan. This is the first time we haven't covered a video of theirs because they're actually on the show. And we just covered a random video. So next time we'll have them to actually talk about that. Shane, don't yell at any buyer's agents today.
I will never be calling a listing agent again after you guys.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Thank you guys for coming on. We appreciate you very much. Thank you all for listening. That is another episode of The Walkthrough. Download Threads, and maybe we'll see you on there. Me and Shane won't, but maybe Paige and Eric will. So we'll see you
on
next
Threads.
week.
Avoid at all costs.
See you on Threads. See you in Guantanamo Bay.